As tensions escalate in eastern Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky is in the United States to set out his, quote, victory plan to its closest ally. The meeting appears to be an urgent attempt to influence White House policy on Ukraine's war with Russia. In the latest, Ukraine claims Russia airstrikes on the southern city of Zaporizhzhia left at least 16 injured, including a 15-year-old boy. The authorities say Russia dealt at least 7 airstrikes to the city and surrounding districts. This has allegedly damaged 13 apartment buildings, educational institutions, cars, garages, and private residences. Rescuers can be seen trying to remove debris and unblock an entry to damaged buildings. The Ukrainian authorities claim Russia used its guided aerial bombs to target civilians in Zaporizhzhia, but Russia maintains that it never targeted civilians in Ukraine.
We just went to bed, both of us, me and my son. All of a sudden, the explosion happened. All windows in our flat were blown out, including the balcony window frame. One window has landed on my son. He's under severe stress. He's shaken, and he has cuts on his head from the shattered glass.
Ukraine claims Russia conducted 363 air and ground strikes on 12 settlements in the border Zaporizhzhia region, of which Zaporizhzhia city is the administrative center. It further goes on to claim that Russia launched 2 guided air missiles and 4 attack drones targeting Ukraine overnight. 3 of the drones shot down over the northeastern Sumy region. Russia, on the other hand, claims its forces have hit the Ukrainian military airfield, energy facilities, workshops for the production of unmanned aerial vehicle, concentrations of enemy power and military equipment, and other targets in the eastern Ukraine region. Now, satellite images have emerged of a Russian RS-28, a Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile, which likely failed during the test earlier this month. The imagery show a crater about 60 meters wide at the launch silo in northern Russia. However, it's yet not clear from the imagery if the liquid-fueled ICBM, which is called Satan missile by the Western media, failed during the launch. In U.S., Zelensky visited a Pennsylvania ammunition factory. He thanked the workers who have been producing one of the most critically needed munitions for his country's fight to fend off Russian ground forces. Ukraine has already received more than 3 million of them from the United States.
You said that 400 people work here, but I wanted very much to come here and to thank you. 400 people saved millions of Ukrainians. Because of the result of your work, I'm very thankful, just from ordinary Ukrainians to you. And what can I say? Thank you so much. You helped us to survive against Putin invasion.
Amid the heightened tensions, Russia and Ukraine clashed in court over access to coastal waters around the Crimea Peninsula, while Kyiv has accused Moscow of viewing the Kerch Strait, the Sea of Azov, and parts of the Black Sea as its proprietary waters. Russia has rejected Ukraine's allegations, calling them baseless. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis. He's a military expert and host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube from Sterling, Virginia. Lieutenant Colonel, it's always great to speak to you. Thank you for coming back to WION. Ukraine's President Zelensky is coming with his hands full with a victory plan, he says. What could it contain, in your opinion?
Well, we don't actually even have to wonder. He's pretty much outright said it. He tweeted out a number of things this morning. He said it's going to have requests for a lot more weapons, specifically long-range weapons. It's going to have a diplomatic initiative, which he says he wants to force Putin to make a negotiated settlement on terms beneficial to Kiev. And then he also wants to hold Putin accountable for the war afterwards, financially and other ways. And that's honestly, it's a bit of a head scratcher because everything on the battlefield is going against the Ukraine, has been for this entire calendar year. And all of the signs continue to show that Russia's strength is increasing while Ukraine is comparatively weakening, especially in the manpower pool. So it's not going to make any difference. I'll just point blank tell you, even if they get the long range missiles, which is very much not a given, But even if they did, it's not going to change any of the dynamics on the tactical battlefield. Russia is still in the upper hand.
And do you think there is a sense of a feeling, and not just in Kyiv with Zelensky, but also across NATO, that before President Biden leaves office, the bloc needs to, I don't know, Trump-proof their assistance to Ukraine?
There's a lot of talk of that. But again, I think it's a fool's errand. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Looking at this from the military perspective, and that's everywhere from the tactical, operational, and strategic levels, there's no path to victory here for Ukraine. There's no path. There's not even a path anymore to a negotiated settlement on terms that are even minimally in favor of Ukraine. That had an opportunity. We actually had Gerhard Schröder, the former chancellor of Germany, over the weekend admit that there was a deal in place and that certain forces, which he didn't name, sabotaged and undermined it to not allow Zelensky to take the deal, which he had been talking about taking in the week before that. So we had a chance to do this. We let it go. And now then Russia has no interest in making a negotiated settlement, anything short of their primary objective of taking all of the Donbass and possibly more.
Yeah, it's just really, as you mentioned, it's a head scratcher when you see, Vladimir Zelensky come with this plan on the one hand, Russia saying what it wants, and then the United States, U.S. policies also there's a lot there to ponder, to say the least. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you so much for joining us on WION.
Always my pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.